insurance for a Tesla Cybertruck. Insurance won't pay for this accident that has happened. Now, we don't know if this is true or not, but let's take this as a lesson and talk about what is going on here if it is true. So here's a post that was posted on Facebook. That's where I saw it. But here's what happens. My quote, my Cybertruck was totaled by an accident. It was swiped by an e-scooter. All in, I paid $198,000, but insurance is only offering me fair market value of $77,000. I still owe the bank $171,000. Here's another edition of the post with a picture, but this picture was actually from an accident that was really early on with a Toyota Camry. So all in all, we can assume that this was probably a fake post at the end of the day. But here's what is happening here. And so it was delivered last January for an all in $198,000. I paid a broker in California to find one and ship it to me. Their broker fee was $50,000 plus taxes and fee. Of course, back at that time, Cybertrucks were going crazy in terms of 200 to 250,000. So that could be believable. But the one thing, or there's a couple of things here that isn't believable. The first thing is delivery, $198,000. If you still owe $171,000, that means that the bank financed you over 200% of the purchase price of the vehicle, because at that time MSRP was $100,000 and $120,000. I don't think that's actually believable because most banks wouldn't actually do that. The second thing here is 50K broker fee, that's fine, and 171K. I feel like a person, if someone were to do this, they would pay cash for it and would not finance it unless they got some creative ways to finance it, which there are plenty of creative ways to finance something like this. Now, let's take this as a lesson to see what is going on here and to hopefully educate some of you out there on how insurance works. The insurance only offering $77,000 in fair value. Actually, that makes a ton of sense because insurance companies only, if your vehicle is total out, they only pay you out what the value of the vehicle is. Like if they were to take that same vehicle and sell it. Now, of course, that's a negotiation. You can go back and forth with the insurance company to try and get a higher value. You'll have to screenshot like cars.com and Auto Trader or auction values and see what to prove that insurance company that is what the vehicle is actually worth. But this is unfortunately how a lot of people, if they're underwater like this, they could owe money when there is an accident. And so that's why if you're buying any vehicle and you're financing it, you do want to get what's coverage. It's a coverage that's called gap coverage. Usually your insurance can offer it, or maybe your financing company can offer it as well. And relatively, it's a cheap, inexpensive insurance, maybe $200 to $1,000, but you don't want to be in this situation. But even GAP's coverage wouldn't help someone in this situation. And the reason why is because GAP usually has a maximum protection through it. It's usually like 125,000 or 125% of the vehicle's value. So in this situation, if the fair market value was 77,000, they would only pay 125,000 of that. And so they would still owe this much at the end of the day. But we don't know if this is a true story or not, but take this as a lesson that if you're buying any vehicle and if you're financing a lot of it, like 120%, if you're putting like 20% down, then usually you're good enough and your payoff will be about the same value as insurance or whatever the insurance pay on it is. But also this is in situations when, knock on wood, you get into an accident and then the vehicle is totaled out and you owe more than what the vehicle is worth. But hopefully this makes a lot of sense to you. And if you're looking for insurance companies and recommendations, a Tesla insurance is usually going to be the cheapest. Next to that is going to be Costco, which we have currently. And of course, the list goes on and on with all these different insurances. And insurance, as we saw, is going to be more expensive than your normal car. So take that as a lesson as well. If you're going to be buying a Tesla, do expect 20 to 30% or $150 to $250 a month just for an insurance. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff with this post. Let us know if you got any stories or experiences with Tesla vehicles or insurance nightmares, I guess, like this, because it is a different game, a slightly different game than buying a normal vehicle.